Child Welfare South Africa CWSA is spearheading a conference that starts today in Pretoria to address child trafficking on the continent. The conference will be looking at how predators use the tourism industry as a means for child trafficking. A number of leaders from the countries on the continent, such as Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia and Zimbabwe will be attending this two-day conference. Now, the sexual exploitation of children in travel and tourism that was launched in 2016 found that the growing travel tourism destinations on the continent have actually created avenues for predators to have access to the children. According to the UN, the booming tourism destinations that boost economic development also puts children at risk of being kidnapped and exploited. Dr. Benny Obai is the Acting Executive Director of Child Welfare South Africa, and he joins us in our studios in Johannesburg to talk about this issue. Thank you so much, Dr. and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I just want to bring you to the previous conversation or interview that we've just had on, young children falling pregnant, and we're talking about child trafficking and sex exploitation. I would believe that there's a correlation of these two elements.
Yes, there's actually there's a link between sexual exploitation and trafficking. Recently, we've seen an increase in the number of children that are being trafficked within country and across country borders. Lately in the news, we'll hear cases of children that have been trafficked from other countries into South Africa, but also within the past month or so, we've had cases of children that have been rescued by the police from sex slave dens. And it's becoming a new dynamic, but the problem is we don't see it as a problem as a society. But sexual exploitation, it's on the increase. It's a huge problem in South Africa. Just like the interview you had with previous guest, it's a problem we're identifying in schools. School teachers and different people are taking advantage, exploiting children sexually for grade, for favor, for to provide economic support and economic opportunities. And it's increasing. And we say we can't just keep quiet and pretend, wish it away. Yeah. We have to start doing something. And that's why we're having the conference that is starting today. Yeah. And we're bringing different stakeholders, because the thinking is it's not just a South African problem, it's a continental problem. So we're saying, let's bring all the different stakeholders together and start talking, because first of all, we need to start talking about it. If we don't talk about it, we're not going to understand it. We're not going to find solution to the problem. So when we start talking about it, then we start unraveling the mystery behind it.
And talking about it is quite a challenge for many cultures, so to say.
It's quite a challenge, but the thing is that it changes in dynamics. In the past, what used to happen was people are taken to brothels, to practice sex trade. But it has changed over time. So what you now find is the perpetrators rent an apartment in a nice suburb or in anywhere, and then they recruit young girls and keep them there, and their clients go visit there. And the most worrisome part of it is that right now we're discovering that it's not just girls that are unemployed that are being recruited. They recruit young girls from schools. So when parents think their children are in school, they have a system where those girls are, when they drop them off in school, they go fetch them from there and take them to the sex slave den, and they continue the practice, and then they go home as though they had gone to school. Yeah. So but if we don't start talking about it, we're not going to find a solution. And talking about it also includes research, that we need to deploy resources. And that's one of the things we're going to challenge the leaders that are attending the conference today and tomorrow to say, let's put resources into research to understand the dynamic, to understand why this is a problem, to understand how it happens, so that we will know how to tackle the problem. Because, like, the conversation with your previous guest, it seems we are not winning the war. So we need to re-strategize.
And it's also worrying to see that the more the tourism industry grow, it is the more the problem gets bigger as well.
Yes, that's partly because, as you would know, in Africa, we're beginning to have a lot of people within the with increased income. Now, increased income creates opportunity for people to explore and desire more things. So that means that you now have a lot of people that that can afford certain luxury. Sexual appetite increases. So as they travel, as they leave home, most times, from what we've identified, you find someone traveled probably from Gauteng to Western Cape, and then he says, I want a young girl of 15, for
so
sexual
money
pleasure.
is a contributing factor to these unholy acts.
Yeah, because right now people now have money to spend. They now have money to share. And, when the whole thing of blesser-blessee situation arose, a lot of people didn't know that it's linked, because now more people now have money to share and throw around, and the only way to spend such money is to look at young, vulnerable children that will fall prey for what they have to offer.
This is quite a complicated one. But do you personally think that government and maybe authorities are doing enough in terms of fighting the scourge of human trafficking and keeping our children safe?
The thing is, we actually don't understand the dynamics. Okay, South Africa has the most wonderful legislations when it comes to protecting children, but the perpetrators are smart. When you look at trafficking, for instance, the way it happens, Department of Home Affairs came up with the whole honor bridge certificate thing and the documentation, but the traffickers are smart.
Social media is also contributing lately.
Yeah, because they would make sure, if they are trafficking someone from across the border, they would make sure they have the right documentation. They would make sure they get the right documents from the parents. Most times when children are taken from the rural areas, you find out that their parents have given a consent, because the parents do not know what the children are going to do. The parents are told, there is a job in Johannesburg and I'm going to find your daughter a job. And then the parents willingly give out all the documents they need. So, but the thing is, we always need to be ahead of the game, because the perpetrators are smart. So we can't use old strategies to fight new battles. So we need to constantly identify what the ways the perpetrators are going about the business, so that we can find new strategies to deal with the problem.
And we can only hope for the best from this conference, that we will be able to find those solutions. Thank you so much, Dr. Obai, for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There you have it. Dr. Benny Obai is the Acting Executive Director of Child Welfare South Africa, talking to us about the conference that starts today in Pretoria. They will be looking at addressing the issue of child trafficking on the continent, as well as sexual exploitation. I believe we'll be hearing from them after the conference as to what resolutions were taken. Let's quickly take a break. 8 o'clock news bulletin. Diala Dela Mona Morning Live.